Welcome back to CryptosRUs. I am George. We're all George. So happy Monday. Is it happy? But it is the start of a new week. And we are seeing some bloodbath for Bitcoin and crypto. What is causing it this morning? And will it end? Let's discuss. All right. Let's do it. Welcome, guys. Like I said, good morning. Happy Monday. But we are seeing a bit more weakness today. You know what? Last week, especially end of the week, we clawed back up to 94, 95,000, but Wall Street opened and decided to sell off some more. So we're starting out the day at 90,600. But what is the reason? Is there anything particular going on that is scaring Wall Street this morning? Well, U.S. market is opening up in the red, but look at NASDAQ. Dow isn't bad, minus 70, but NASDAQ is opening up at minus 252. So, again, it's one of those pesky, pesky things that Wall Street is doing, which is making Bitcoin or bundling Bitcoin into a risk-on asset with all the other tech. So whenever they have fears about the economy, they sell off risk-on assets like tech and Bitcoin. That's exactly what's happening right now. But what is so scary? Why are they afraid? Why is this happening right now? Well, a couple reasons. They're all due to the economy, but take a look. The DXY, which is strength of the dollar, right, is surging. Normally speaking, Bitcoin moves in the inverse direction of the US, the DXY. So right now, DXY is going up. People are buying dollars. People are buying yields. Why would people do that? Well, again, it's due to the fear. It's due to the fear factor. And that's why 10-year yield also touches a 14-month high. And again, this is all due to fear, okay? Fear of inflation. That's what Wall Street is afraid of. Last week, we actually ended a week with some very positive numbers. Unemployment went down in the US unexpectedly. The number of jobs added went up unexpectedly. These are normally great things, signs that we have a healthy economy, and yet the market, US market, broader market, sold off hard. So that is still weighing on Wall Street. And this week, we have more data that measures inflation. The PPI is coming out. Okay, so a lot of fears that it will go higher. Not only will it go higher, it'll go higher than expected, and that's not a good thing. Okay, and then also we have the inflation rate. So these things is what Wall Street is looking at, and it's coming out later this week. I think it's like Wednesday or Thursday. And then we also have other things like retail sales. Here we go, month over month. The Fed Manufacturing Index, all these things that measure how the economy is. And unfortunately, the better they read at this point, it's not the worst that they read, the better they read, the more Wall Street's going to sell off. And that sucks. Really, really sucks. And the reason why they're doing that is because they're afraid inflation will go up because consumers are not broke, consumers are still spending. And not only that, Fed Chair Powell will not be buying or cutting the upcoming during the upcoming FOMC meetings. He will not be cutting the Fed fund rate more because of these things. But normally speaking, if we weren't living in this bizarre world, these good economic data should rally markets, should not cause more FUD, more fear, uncertainty, and doubt. But that's exactly what's happening right now. That's why we are seeing this sell-off, unfortunately. And it is increasing, especially for NASDAQ. Now we're down almost 300, and Bitcoin, for the first time in a long time, we are now seeing the 80,000 mark, 89,700. Whew. Strap on, guys. Get ready. It's going to be volatile this week. And possibly, well, you know what? It could flip around, but it's definitely volatile this morning. So that's what's happening. And of course, you have more liquidations. I did notice this, okay, which is another reason why we may be seeing what we're seeing right now. Is because whenever we have these moments, these large volatility moments, we do see the market makers tend to wipe out the leverage. I had this up like 20 minutes ago, and I kind of knew, like, you could see there's a sell wall or there's a buy wall here right around 90,000, and here's one at 89.9. You know, whenever you see these like walls or levels, you tend to see Bitcoin break through them. And I was looking at this, I'm like, man, that's what the market makers are going to try to do, drive us below that. But you know what? We could bounce right off of there. But that's also another reason why we're getting liquidations, long squeezes, and the market makers are at play. But again, we can certainly bounce back from this level later today. Now, despite all this doom and gloom, okay, it seems and sounds like it's horrible. It seems like Bitcoin and its bull run is over. And the alts, while they bleed, seems like all is lost, right? Doesn't it seem like everything is down to you know what? But again, this is temporary. Dips are gifts, and anyone who truly understands that will continue to hodl and continue to buy and accumulate and dollar cost average and build their stockpile or build their bag. Kind of like Saylor. Saylor tends to buy at tops, but that's okay. He's been doing that for years and has worked out for him, so he will continue to do so. And every single week now, it's not even like months or, you know, before, sometimes he just disappears for a few months. Now, every single week, he is making a large purchase, 243 million today at around 96,000 per Bitcoin. So now MicroStrategy has an even number, 450,000. Okay, Saylor understands this concept of volatility, the concept of buying low and selling high. So he will continue to do so. Although, you know, with MicroStrategy, it's a little bit different than a retail investor because he has leverage, right? He has the ability to sell off shares and raise money to buy more Bitcoin, and that is exactly what he's doing. In fact, since November, since Bitcoin's rise, Saylor's kind of been FOMOing hard, even more so than BlackRock's IBIT Bitcoin ETF. He's been adding and adding and adding and adding. Man, he is on an insane crusade right now to accumulate as much Bitcoin as he can. Right? That's addictive, and also the right move. Maybe not like as addictive, not as over leveraged as he is, but it is the right call. And that's why there's so many others that have implemented Bitcoin strategies doing the same thing. Semler Scientific did exactly the same thing. Okay, raised more money and bought 237 Bitcoin last week at 98,000, 23 million, and now they have 2,321. And there are so many others that are doing so. They're not timing the market. They're not trying to be a TA analyst and saying, well, this is a horrible time to buy. Okay, they're not doing that. They're doing what a retail investor would do. Hey, if I have extra money, I'm going to put into Bitcoin. I'm going to DCA. That's it. Regardless if it's at a higher price or lower price, you may look at this now and you're like, well, yeah, he's stupid. You could have bought Bitcoin at 90,000 now versus 98,000. But you know what? You ask any veteran out there, you ask all these Wall Street billionaires, all of them will tell you the same thing. I don't know what the price is going to do next week. I don't know what's going to do tomorrow. But if you believe in something good, you will continue to hold it and accumulate more of it. Right? that's how we should treat Bitcoin. If you believe in it, or you believe in XRP, like those that have been holding since 2018, right? You continue to hold it and accumulate it. 16 years ago, Satoshi sent 10 Bitcoin to Hal Finney. The very first transaction, okay, and the very first person to receive Bitcoin. So again, to put things in perspective, 16 years ago really wasn't that long ago. And look at how far Bitcoin has come. From a pet project in someone's basement, something that's completely worthless at the time, worth nothing, to where it is now, being embraced by public traded companies, by presidential candidates, by countries. How fast things have progressed within the last 16 years. It's really quite amazing. So when in doubt, zoom out and realize how far we have come. We will always have scary times, but Bitcoin picks up itself and continues forward. That's how it is. States are also North Dakota. Now they may be, I know there was a count of 13 states that may have increased to like, I don't know, 15, 20 states. As America is preparing for a new president and preparing to create the strategic reserve, states are also doing the same thing. They're creating legislation to make sure that they can also add Bitcoin to their balance sheet. Yes, and that will be phenomenal, right? And we got everyone. Treasury Secretary nominee disclosed he has 500,000 of Bitcoin. Bitcoin ETFs. I mean, there's so many. The new regime that's going to be coming in, right? They're all like pro crypto guys. And going forward, the new generations, it's going to be hard to find any of them that don't hold some crypto, because that is the future. That is the future, right? So don't be left behind. Now, as for other great things that are still happening despite the price being lower, the exchange reserve is at a 7-year low. We know that the ETFs are still buying, right? The big whales are buying. Saylor is buying. Everyone is still buying. So despite the fact that the price may be going down due to some manipulation, due to Wall Street being a little fearful, due to maybe liquidations, but the supply shock is still happening. It's still in play. There's just not enough to go around. Not every millionaire on the planet could even buy one Bitcoin at this point. Not because they can't afford it. It's because there's just not enough. Even if they tried, it wouldn't work because there's more millionaires than the total theoretical limit of Bitcoin, which is 21 million, which we have not hit yet. So, number of Bitcoin addresses holding over 100 Bitcoin has surged phenomenally. And here's the thing. Many people feel like that the dip that we're seeing is actually normal before the inauguration. Because if you look at the last 2 cycles, that's exactly what happened. The last cycle, the 2021 cycle, when we actually entered a new year, Bitcoin rose up to about $43,000 and dumped to $29,000. That's a huge, tremendous dump before it kept going upwards. After that, it went up and went up and went up, and it didn't stop. And the prior cycle before that, Bitcoin dropped from $1,200 down to $790. That was when Trump was first elected president, right? So if you're going based on history, this is actually quite normal. The first few weeks of the new year, of the 4-year cycle, generally speaking, you see a huge, massive dump. And those people that have been, you know, scared out, they missed out on the most tremendous runs that we have ever seen. So don't be like one of those people. All right. Last few things. FTX repayments are going to start soon. This will be very, very positive overall because you're going to have a whole lot of people getting a whole lot of stable coins back. And what are they going to do with the stable coins? Are they going to cash out? Probably not. What they're going to do is use that to buy back whatever crypto that they had, right? And they're getting interest on top of that too, which is quite crazy. I've never even heard of that concept. But that will be starting soon. And we're talking about billions, okay, coming back into the market. And lastly, never expected to see this, but Cardano is looking to integrate Ripple's new stablecoin, the RLUSD. So, collaboration between two of the most hardcore communities, the Cardano community and the XRP community. They may be coming together. That will be a force to be reckoned with, I guess. All right. That's it. Let's see. The U.S. market. Dow is coming up, but NASDAQ is still looking pretty weak. MicroStrategy, Coinbase, both sold off hard. Robinhood as well, same as last week. Let's see if we get a stop to the selling today. Bitcoin has climbed back up. That may be the bottom. We haven't seen the 80s in a while now. Now we're back up to 91,000. So stay strong, my friends. This week could be volatile because of all the economic data, and Wall Street just does not know how to react. They are being very reactionary as always. But we have seen times like this before. When in doubt, zoom out, realize, yeah, we have seen a lot of this. And even more so earlier in 2024. It's always like that. There will always be volatility. There will always be bloodbaths and sell-offs. And then what happens afterwards? Boom, we make the next leg up. It's always the same thing. So, all right, let's do some Q&A. XRP is holding extremely well. 244. It's still, I mean, it's still higher than, you know, just a few days ago when it was hovering the 220s. Probably because of the Cardano news I just shared. All right, let's do some Q&A. Let me see. Let me scroll up here. Bitcoin's coming up since that little dip. You get a good bounce here. An MCT. It's crazy people are selling inauguration ahead of the most pro-crypto president in history. I mean, it seems like it happens every single time. Every single time you have this massive sell-off before a new presidency, even if they're non-pro-crypto, they're not pro-crypto. I mean, even look at January 8th. Leading into February, you know, when Biden got elected and Bitcoin still went up, right? But it seems like the start of New Year happens every single cycle. Could be the final shakeout. The last shakeout, true shakeout, not that there's no more volatility, but like the last true shakeout before, you know, the rise. Jonathan. Thank you. And then ETH. Rotten Apple says can't shake me out. That's great. Jonathan, I've been waiting for the dip since the December high, and I knew this day would be coming. I bought the dip with all my reserves. It's wild. Congratulations. Congratulations. The thing is, we may dip more because of what's being announced later this week, right? But that's why you need to have dry powder on the side. I know that's easier said than done. A lot of people don't have extra money all the time on the side to be able to buy the dips. If you don't, then okay, then just hodl. But if you do, you have the ability to save more to be able to invest, or you make side money, side hustles, whatever it takes. This is how wealth is made. You buy low when other people are fearful, and then you sell high when other people are FOMOing. That's how it works. But you know, we're getting a good bounce. 91.6 right now. Good bounce. Sui always goes through this too. Sui, if you haven't noticed, Sui goes through these volatile like climbs and then dips and then climbs back. Like, man, I don't know what's going on. The market makers for Sui are crazy. But it would not surprise me if we have like Sui go back up to $5 in no time. Sol, great buying opportunity. And then I just announced ADA too with his partnership with Ripple. Below $1, still good buying opportunity. Theodore is asking, the only question is, should I buy ETH or Bitcoin? I'd much rather buy Bitcoin over ETH. That's me. DCA means dollar cost average. What would it take to actually scare you right now? Well, I'm gonna be honest. If it dropped to like 60s again, I would not feel good about that. If all of a sudden, you know, we lost all of our gains, and well, now we're back up. But like, you know, what would it take to scare me? Well, if we dropped here all the way back down to like 67,000, man, I would not feel good about it. Would I give up on Bitcoin? No, because I think if we had something like that, we would have extreme bounce right back up, and it would be an awesome buying opportunity. But like, I just don't see that ever happening again in our lifetime. If we drop to like down here to 48,000, yeah, that would be scary. Again, chances of that is less than 1%. In my opinion, less than 0.1%, unless something catastrophic happens. Have you checked Taveria? No, never. Oops. People that are tuning in late right now, wondering what the hell is going on, it's very simple. The U.S. Wall Street is very, very, very afraid of the economic data that's going to be coming out later this week. That's why the DXY is surging. That's why the 10-year yield is surging. That's why tech is being sold off, even though we're recovering a little bit. It's all due to inflation, inflation fears. We're going to get a PPI reading and also a core inflation reading later this week. So Wall Street is scared, is selling off risk-on assets because they are afraid of inflation going back up and Powell not cutting more rates. There are a lot of talks now from Fed governors saying that we should not cut rates at all this year, which is baloney. But, you know, that's really scaring. That's really scaring Wall Street. Look at this. BNB is up in the last 24 hours. That's actually kind of insane. It's like the only one that's up in the last 24 hours. I don't know what's going on with BNB, but they're holding extremely well right now. Yeah, Mass George had to sell several thousand Jordan 13s to cover margins. I'm sorry you had to do that, but maybe it's the right call. If you're looking at liquidations or the liquidation levels, you could see that just wiped out a whole bunch of people going down all the way down here, right? It seems like there's not enough walls down here to go. The next wall, I'm pretty sure this is going to happen sometime soon. You could see there's a level here at 92.7 and there's a 92.4. We're going to probably see a big bounce or continued bounce that's going to wipe out these levels. So we will probably go to like 92.8 or 92.9 or 93,000. We may go touch about 93, 94 and go back straight to where we were yesterday. That could happen, or bounce up and then back down. But I'm fairly certain the shorts at these levels will also be wiped out soon. So a lot of times these market makers are just driving Bitcoin up and down just to wipe out all the leverage. Leon, why would you say you wouldn't feel good about 60K in the same breath? It would be awesome buying everything. But of course, I'm still human. The smart thing is to buy. My head will tell me, yes, go buy, buy, buy. But, you know, I'm still not a robot. I still would not enjoy seeing my portfolio go down by 50% if that happened. So... Colton, why would they do that? Because they just like to reset things. I don't know the true reason why they do, but regardless, they make money. Maybe it's a way to drive people to keep using more money, to keep bringing more volume in. Michael, You know what? That's why, you got to think about this. Most people on the planet does not even invest, okay? Let alone invest in Bitcoin and crypto, which is the most volatile assets on the planet. So, yeah, sometimes I try to put that in perspective. That's why I do what I do. I may repeat myself a lot, uh, but it's just words of encouragement, right? Because I've been through enough cycles. And it does kind of suck when we go through these corrections and dips, but we always get past it and we move forward. And I'm just trying to keep people in the game and their heads straight. MicroStrategy is recovering a little bit. Coinbase and Robinhood is too. So that that initial sell-off may be over. I think based on this, we will shoot back up to at least like 93 to wipe out those shorts. It always seems to happen. Both shorts and long gets wrecked. But just remember, guys, remember the last two cycles. I didn't remember, so you see that's why we need reminders. Is I didn't even remember that January 2021 and January 2017, the last two bull runs in the final year before Bitcoin topped out at $20,000 and 69,000. Both times Bitcoin dropped tremendously in the first 2 weeks. It's like the shakeout. It's like the shakeout before the huge pump. And both times Bitcoin went down a lot. We're talking about like 30, 40%. And then it just kind of kept going. In both cases, if you look at, we had a tremendous rise going all the way up to March, and then we dip again, and then we get going again. So after this final one, we could see a huge rise leading to March. Then maybe we get a little dip, but whatever we end up at is probably going to be higher than our previous 108. Jonathan. The people who sell off now are the most stupid people. We are moving in the most ideal case, healthiest bull market cycle movement. This is what a healthy market is supposed to look like. I agree with you, man. But you can't just call everyone stupid because some people have not experienced this, okay? They just have not. So calling people stupid is not going to help things unless they're being ignorant and they're causing FUD. MJ Matrix, besides Bitcoin, MicroStrategy or IBIT, at this point, MicroStrategy. Even though I may not be the biggest fan of how much leveraging Saylor is doing, but in the end, I think it's going to work out with how much Bitcoin he's buying. W Dog, why do alts follow Bitcoin on the way down but don't follow Bitcoin on the way up? Because people are just buying more Bitcoin than alts sometimes. I don't know, man. People sell off. When there's sell-off period, people just sell off everything. But when they buy back, they tend to buy the strongest asset they know, which is Bitcoin. So I just think that's just how it is. But during altcoin season, you'll see that it's going to be the opposite. you'll see that Bitcoin may dip more and alts just hold and they don't really dip and they continue to move forward. And every time there's good news, the alts will move faster than Bitcoin. That's what altcoin season is. We're just not there yet. George, do you think the LA fires have something to do with this? Not really, no. It's pretty obvious. The dip happened right when the market bell rang. This is completely due to Wall Street. This has nothing to do with anything else. If the fires really had a consequence, we would have seen this yesterday or a day before. But the dip happened right when the bell rang. So obviously, this was due to Wall Street setting their orders. They set their orders at 8:30. I don't know why they would need to, but they did. What are your top 3 altcoins? That's a good question. I think it's going to be, at this point in time, SUI, XRP, and Solana for top 3. Chris Never Grow Old asks, would you ape into this dip? You don't need to ape into it, okay? But dips are gifts. I've been saying that for a while, and that's how you should treat it. It doesn't mean that you have to go all in. Doesn't mean that you have to like ape into it, but dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin, your favorite crypto. We're getting a pretty good bounce right now. 92.4. Pretty good bounce. That, my friends, looks like it was just, again, to wipe out the longs and to scare people once again. Walter says, this is like a second Christmas. Too bad I don't have any more money to buy. See, that's the thing. You know, I always say dips are gifts and to DCA, right? And I know a lot of people get very angry at there. Like, well, George, I don't have any money to buy the dip. I don't have infinite amount of money to keep buying. It's okay. If you don't, then just at least don't fall for the FUD, which a lot of people do because they turn very bearish and you could tell and they start spreading misery. That's not what we want. But if you have the ability to, always maintain that cash pile. People ask me on the flip side, like, what's your profit taking schedule, right? Regardless, just try to keep 20-25% in cash so that you're able to buy the dips. And when you buy the dips, doesn't mean you have to go all in. Like today, for example, if you had some cash, you could put in maybe like 10% into it. Doesn't mean that you put 100% of your cash pile in. You put a little bit into it. You dollar cost average, bring your price, your average price down, and then when we recover, you're better for it. That's what Saylor's been doing, right? He doesn't try to time the top or the bottom, and he's been doing this for years and has worked out for him. The DCA portfolio I've been showing you guys, right, has worked out for it as well. It's over 100% still, and we'll check it out this week. But DCA is the best strategy. DCA and whole lane is the best strategy. There's nothing better. When you say, Raul when you say Wall Street, do you mean they're selling the ETFs? It could mean that. It could also mean that they're selling Bitcoin directly. I'm sure a lot of them also have Coinbase accounts. I'm sure some of them are selling OTC. Some of them are selling futures. Remember, there are a lot of derivatives out there. There are Bitcoin options and futures now, and also ETFs. I mean, there's plenty of ways for them to sell if they wanted to. But on the flip side, there's plenty of ways for them to buy too. Right? You can't take the good without the bad. It's not only good, you know. We cheered when Wall Street bought and brought Bitcoin up, you know. They're going to do their thing. They may not understand completely. They may not even do it for the right reasons. Maybe they're just buying because it's the best performing asset there is. They're not really buying because they believe it's a hedge against inflation, whatever the case is. But they definitely have a big piece now of Bitcoin for sure. Raul's banana trouble. That sounds wrong for many reasons, but no. Steve-O says, my SUI's up 126%. Doge up 400%. I'm not that worried. Exactly. Right? Anyone that's been in the game for at least, I don't know, 6 months, you're up probably triple digits. If you've been in longer, same thing, right? A lot of these alts, even though it seems like they're bleeding, again, you look at where they were 6 months ago versus now, they're still up tremendously. So if you DCA toward the bottom or on the way up, you're still well in the green. You're just nowhere close of getting back to previous lows. Nowhere close. But every time I buy the dips, it keeps dipping. Hey, that means you're just presented with more gifts. Is this computer chair from Costco? It is. It is. Same thing with this dust I'm using. Remember, guys, this happened the last 2 cycles exactly at the same time before the inauguration of the new president. Okay. The first 2 weeks of January, previous cycles, not so good. Sold off way more than now. 42,000 down to 28,000. 1,200 down to 800. You do the math. That's like a 50% drop. those times were much more scary, a lot more volatile. But then afterwards, a huge climb up in March, and then it kept going, right? So based on history, this is actually very accurate. Very accurate indeed. And we're following it almost to the T, except we're not having a 30 or 40 or 50% dip. We're having a 10% dip. Way less volatile than before. All right, guys, I'll let you guys go. Overall, stay strong, stay focused, don't fall for the FUD. DCA if you can, but most importantly, continue to hodl. All right, and we'll see where the day brings us. The rest of this week could be just as volatile. We'll see. All right. Smash the like, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you guys tonight. Usual time, 8:30 p.m. Central Standard Time. All right. Have a good one, guys. Take care. Oh, I got, before I go, take a look at this.
What do you think about Ripple?
Well, I mean, I think it's too centralized, but I definitely want to meet Chris Larson.